I'm not happy. The biggest thing is they say, look at his eyes. Look at his eyes, man. Have you seen his eyes? It's like he has demons in his eyes. Look, so unhappy. The biggest thing is I'm not happy. I'm not fulfilled. You know, they're so missing the point, man. Is a very focused, driven human being who found a buried treasure within himself. Not many people's found it. So the journey I'm on is very different than most people, which is why I don't judge people. I'll say that many times. I don't judge people. I'm judged a lot by how I look. My eyes, my not smiling all the time, not laughing, not joking. Right now, it's easy to be happy. It's easy to smile. Those are the good times. The good times. Those times don't need to be trained. You know, I had to train myself for good times. Those times, for most people, don't need to be trained. What I'm trying to give you all is the misery of sometimes we go through in life. Those are the times we don't want to talk about. We want to skip forward to peace. Let's skip all this pain and suffering and misery of real life. Let's cover it over, nice big blanket, and let's find peace. No. Sorry. It's not possible. You gotta go into that hellhole of life that you have, that fucked you up, and fix it. And that's what I'm here to do. You must go to war with yourself before you find peace. So I'm trying to give you tools on how to do that. And I'm not considering smile and be happy about it. It's a hard journey. It's a real journey. It's a journey that's going to take you way outside of being comfortable. You'll be very, very uncomfortable. So basically, I start running and I get to about mile 40, mile 50, and I'm feeling pretty good. I get to mile 70 and it was the worst pain in my life. I sat down in this blue lawn chair at mile 70 and the Ritz crackers after mile 20 became Ritz cracker balls. I wasn't hydrating correctly. I didn't know what to do. I was drinking Mileplex for my nutrition because I couldn't eat these Ritz crackers. Had very minimal water, if any at all. And I was just dying. So I sat down in this blue lawn chair and I was watching all these runners go around in this circle. I was all dizzy and lightheaded, hadn't gone to the bathroom. It's been about 12 hours. I went 70 miles in about 12 hours. This is good. And I looked at my ex-wife now and I was like, I started seeing like 3 of them. And once my body stopped, my mind just went off. And I had to go to the bathroom. And the bathroom was like 20 feet away from me with that. And I couldn't. It's the hidden work. People see a 1 minute, video of me running this. These fighters, they see during the fight or after the fight. They don't see what they deal with every day. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be here. Because every day, even though they're the best in the world, that little mother 7 or 8 years old is still in there saying, "Oh man, you don't have something. Man, we're not good enough. You shouldn't be here." So you're always fighting that motherfucker. Even though you beat it, you never truly beat it. And you get up earlier and all these things you do to start forming yourself. When you quit, your mind does this. Once you say, "I'm not going to quit," this is the 40%. When you quit, your mind says, "We're done." So it doesn't expand. There's no expansion when you quit. When you say, this sucks, I'm drowning, I'm miserable, I'm suffering, I'm broken, but I'm not going anywhere. What happens to your mind is it does this. It says, he's not leaving. So we got to expand. We got to grow. We got to figure this thing out. So then these compartments in your brain start to work. They have to work. And then you start to engage parts of your mind that you never engaged before. But you can't engage it by sitting back in these nice chairs, drinking this nice water, talking to you, talking about what I want to do. So that's where the 40% thing comes in. It comes in when you're in suffer mode and you say, "I'm not going to quit." You're forcing your brain now to operate on a level it's not used to, but then it becomes used to. In times of need, even the hardest person forgets how badass they are. So I've been through a lot in my life. When you're going through a hard time right now, you forget all the hard time you endured. So the cookie jar is a reminder that, I can get through this hard time right now, but you got to take a second or two to reach into the mental cookie jar. You got to open up and say, "Okay, man, I was in 3 Hellweeks and I got through 2 of them. I was in Ranger School. I saw these beatings. My mom's soon-to-be husband got murdered. All these things I endured alone. I have to remind myself of the strength and the power that I have, that is in me. It's just a reminder of how badass you are in hard times, because we just forget that bad time consumes our mind. I see where I'm at today, but I know where I come from. I'm amazed at what a human being can actually do. So when I start talking to myself in the third person, it's strictly because I know that I literally made this human being out of a whole bunch of scraps. I wasn't a mechanic. I wasn't a carpenter, so I didn't know how to do any of this. I wasn't trained in how to build a human being from nothing. Like my mom didn't train me, my dad didn't train me, life didn't train me. Well, life did train me, correction. And I started putting this scrap metal together. I'm like, I wonder what's gonna happen. And after a while, I started learning more and more and more through pain and suffering. I started learning so much about stuff. Before I knew it, man, I built this beautiful car. I'm like, how did I do that? I know how to do it because I have all the tools. Through all the failure I went through trying to build this person who's Goggins. It's called raw accountability. Not just accountability where we find that nice, happy word. If you're fat, you look in the mirror and say, wow, I eat a little too much. No, you're fat. You cannot say that to yourself. You have to make a list of the things that you don't like to do. This list should be very long. Like if you don't like making calls, the very first thing you should do is start making a ton of calls. Because why? That begins to own you. You start to drive yourself this way versus this way. But you'll figure out, if you start making a whole bunch of calls, if you like calling, call a lot. Guess what happens? You get over it. So what we do a lot is, I heard a lot of people say, triple down on this, triple down on most of your strength. No. That works for a lot of things. But when you're afraid and you don't have the courage, you have to triple down on your weaknesses and make that become where you start to guide yourself. Okay, I don't like calling. Today I'm making 100 calls. I'm going to dial 100 times. What happens is, when I was younger, life and society made this big world with all these endless possibilities. My life made my possibilities this big because it made me afraid of all these different things. So all this stuff trapped my mind, it shackled my brain, it made me a prisoner within my own self, saying, this is all I can do. Because why? I'm afraid of this, I'm insecure over here, I got self-doubt over here, that behind me, good Lord, who knows what's behind me? I'm not gonna look behind me. So your life is this big. Versus it being like, I can do all this shot here if I start to break down these walls and barriers. And that's what I started realizing. I could become a Navy SEAL. I could become this, but I was afraid of the water. Think about this. Why are you going to go be a Navy SEAL when all you do is play in the water? And we don't play, we're in it and we're living in it. So my mind is, I'm going to go be a Navy SEAL. If I didn't face that fear, no one would ever know me. I was number 3 behind Michelle Obama for a long time until my book sold out. And I was a guy just 21 years ago who was 300 pounds, could barely read and write, and now I have a book just 2 spots behind Michelle Obama. Just because I was afraid. But you overcome those fears, guess what happens? The whole world, you unlock this door, and everything opens back up again. I'm the hardest working guy that doesn't talk about it. So basically, I don't take any days off as far as working out. First thing in the morning time is you have to build your confidence. And every day you're constantly gaining and losing confidence. You're never staying the same. So how you build your confidence is, if you like what you see in that mirror, that's how you start your day off. If you wake up and you look fat, you look out of shape, you not feel good, which is, or you don't feel good inside. So my whole big thing is get up and work out. Shed some calories. Get the adrenals going. Get the mind going. Get all that going. Every day I run. Every day I work out. A lot of people, what they do is they have these finish lines. And I have a saying that says, I don't stop when I'm tired, I stop when I'm done. When I was younger, I didn't have any goals. It's not really so much about goals, it's just a to-do list. And as a human being, if you don't have a to-do list, you're going to sit back and just fade away. Your brain is the most powerful weapon in the world. If you can't control your own brain, you got to tell your brain where you want to go and how you want to go and how you want to get there. You got to control it. If not, it's over. A good human being A fulfilled human being doesn't need to break anyone down. All they do is want to build you up. So anybody you meet that calls you out of your name, that bullies you, that messes you up, that makes you feel not lifted, they are dealing with something deep rooted. When you quit, your mind says we're done. So it doesn't expand. There's no expansion when you quit. When you say, this sucks, I'm drowning, I'm miserable, I'm suffering, I'm broken, but I'm not going anywhere. What happens to your mind, it says, he's not leaving. So we got to expand. We got to grow. We got to figure this thing out. So then these compartments in your brain, they have to work. And then you start to engage parts of your mind that you never engaged before. When you're in suffer mode and you say, I'm not going to quit. You're forcing your brain now to operate on a level it's not used to. But then it becomes used to it. The only way anything gets accomplished, you got to work hard. I can't remember what's in this paragraph to pass this test to get in the military. Read it again. Still not getting it. Read it again. But if you're not getting it, write it out. And guess what happened? I got it. I can't swim. I'm negative buoyant. Go back again. I can't swim. Go back again. Go back again. Go back again. I got it. I realized if I keep going back and going back and going back, your mind will say, okay, we're going to figure it out because he is not going to stop. I always equated working out to struggle. I struggled my whole life, but I ran from it. So I started realizing, man, I got to start facing the struggle and I got to be mentally strong for the struggle. I'm training for life. Mentally, I'm training for life. I'm not training for to lift 400 pounds. And I found out on my own pretty much is that through discipline, through self-discipline, through repetition, through tons of repetition of the same thing that you don't want to do, you develop mental armor for your mind. Start to armor your mind because your mind's like, okay, we suffer every day. We do stuff that sucks every day. So then when the suck stuff comes, you're ready for it. I had two options: to either be that 300-pound guy who sprayed for cockroaches and made $1,000 a month, or I can totally just fail until I succeed. So I started calling recruiters up. I said, I'm going to go be a Navy SEAL. There's a weight and height limit to get in the military. And I was 6'1" and 297. He saw me, put me through the weight standard, all this other stuff. And to get into the class I had to lose 106 pounds in less than 3 months. I was like, I can't do that. I grabbed my chocolate milkshake and went back to Ecolab. And I said, this ain't going to be it for me. I quit my job and I went home and I started working out like somebody. I became the most obsessed person on the planet Earth. I had to invent a guy that can take any pain, any suffering, any kind of judgment, and I built it through suffering. And I started realizing through this process, and I started opening different doors. And the more doors I opened up, the more I started realizing that my potential is damn near endless. It changed my whole mindset. I don't care what you believe in. It doesn't matter. I'm not judging anybody. Let's say my thing is God. You get to heaven, we're sitting down just like this. You're God and I'm David. And he says, look at this. And I'm looking at this chart, and on the chart it has all these different things. I was going to change the world. I was going to set records. I was going to be a Navy SEAL. I was going to be honored here, honored there. I'm like, this isn't me. Like it says David Goggins. I was an Ecolab guy. I sprayed for cockroaches, and I'm 300 pounds. It said here, I'm 185. And God goes, no, that's who you were supposed to be. My biggest fear in life is that there is a final resting place in this world. And there's a final judgment. And you talk to something much bigger than you. I don't want to sit down and have a conversation with someone that says, you're in heaven. This is what you should have been on earth. I want God to be up there right now as we're speaking, writing stuff down, saying, my God, he exceeded even my expectations. Wow. That's how I live my life. I now know that there is no cap on the human mind. There's no cap. We cap it ourselves. We all have to start from zero with pain. And what that means is, if you don't go back, we all have something that bothers us. Everybody in this world is insecure. And whenever you're in physical pain, even though you might not be thinking about that mental stuff that happened to you, your mind is thinking about it. All these dungeons that our life has created, most of the time we quit is because we don't have any mental tools to get us through the other side. My whole thing for people is you have to examine, why are you doing it in the first place? What makes people quit so much in SEAL training and all other special ops training is the mind is always comfortable to sit there. You're watching the Navy SEAL show, Discovery Channel. You're in a 72-degree house. I can do that. Oh, sure. Trying to find more of yourself, knowing that the real you is afraid, likes comfort, likes living in a world that likes to pat you on the back, give you the things that you want to hear. not the things that you have to hear to do better. That's where all this kind of stuff. I don't need it. I'm good. Why do you still do this? You right now are a leader. You sit in this chair right now to thousands, hundreds of thousands of people. That's why you do it. Why you get up at 3, 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning is because you are setting the example for others to follow. People always go, what drives you now? What should drive you now is no more you. Like you said, I'm comfortable. I'm good. It's not about you anymore. You have to change your mindset to God gave you everything you want. It's pay time. You got to now start paying bills for the people in your mindset. So you're suffering now. Like when people say, why do you get up at 6 o'clock in the morning? So then you can come in and set the example for everybody else. We want to be the best amongst the average people. People wonder, how do you stay hungry all the time? Because after I accomplish something, I don't sit back like a lot of guys who graduate buds, graduate this, graduate that, and get comfortable. They wonder why I'm getting weak, man. I don't know, I lost my edge. What's going on? Because once you hit the top of the mountain, guess what happened? I'm good. I'm good. So you wonder why you're falling down now. Because once you reach the top of the mountain, you got to build another one. That's mediocrity. There's a lot of people in mediocrity who have a nice resume, but they're one-timers, man. They hit a one-time deal. They busted it open, got a lot of money, but they're good. You're mediocre now. These people go to the gym. They get big. They get jacked. They can run fast. But the only thing they're doing is they're coding over the mind. All you're doing is building a bigger, stronger quitter. Your mind hasn't gotten any stronger. So the second adversity comes, like, my God, I'm so fit. What's wrong? Your mind is still soft. There's a lot of quiet time. I shut out a lot of noise. I only have people in my life that need to be there. If you don't need to be in my life, I'm not about acquiring more friends. I'm not about noise. I'm about, okay, are you trying to go somewhere? You can jump on board. If not, I don't want to hear all your problems. Do you have a solution for your problem? That's what I'm all about right now. So I'm not about whining, complaining. I'm about, okay, we need to go this way. I'm big into visualization and also self-talk. But also like, where do I want to be in life? Where do I see myself? And then I start making these plans on how I'm going to get there. And I don't deviate from that plan. Because I realized once I was talking to myself the right way and all this wasn't in my mind, wow, I went from this kid who thought he was dumb, not successful, insecure, who stuttered when I first saw somebody, to a person who can now do all these things just because I now control my own mind. And I don't care. A lot of people say they don't care. When you get to the point you really don't care, you become very, very dangerous. I'm not saying don't care like, I don't care if I do that. No, when you don't care about other people and how they view you, about how you walk, how you talk, how you dress, where you want to go with your life. You know, growing up, I didn't want to tell anybody I wanted to be in the military. Because why? Some of my black friends, I was afraid of what they think. You know, why you want to join the military? I was afraid of what other people thought about me. So now, when I go in the military, I didn't know you want to be in the military. Yeah, I didn't tell you because I was afraid of what you thought. Once again, man, you're allowing other people to shackle your mind. It's the worst thing in the world. And what's funny about that, I often say it, on the other side of that extreme place that I call suffering, there's a whole nother world that people have not even examined. But you have to go to that extreme place to examine it. You want to stay here in this comfortable place. Once you're going to push yourself to that extreme place, it's like a whole other universe. It's almost like you're an astronaut and you've examined something like up in outer space. No, it's always been there. But you have to be going through all the muck to examine it. You realize, wow, God, through all this crap, there's a whole other universe over here in my mind. Whole other universe. You don't want to break open that callus, that scar in your mind. You don't want to break, no, you have to break it open, let that blood flow. You have to let blood flow in your brain. You have to let all that stuff flow out. All that toxic stuff that you have trapped in there has to start flowing out now. So, like you said, you are doing this to yourself. Yes, people may have helped you get there, but it's now on you. It's a painful truth. Painful truth. Like all those people in high school and everything else, they don't know how you're going to end up. So you got to make sure that you constantly are rewriting your book. You have to constantly rewrite your book every day of your life. These aren't just words I say. This is how I have to live. Like, these are conversations I have with myself. And I say it everywhere I go. The most important conversation when you have with yourself. You live with it every single day. But most of our conversations are not the right ones. They're not the ones that are going to push us to the place we need to go. They're the ones that are going to keep us sitting in that toxic environment that you helped create and everybody else helped create, and you just live in it. You live in that muck, and that conversation just plays in your head. That becomes you. Life beat me up bad. I mean, I was knocked out in the 12th round of a 15-round heavyweight bout. I was knocked out. But what happened was, in the 12th round, when the challenger turned his back on me, I was getting up. And I got up and won the next 3 rounds. So that's my mind about can't hurt me. I was hurt, man. Like, literally, I had to overcome so much those first 26 years of my life. And I still do every day today. You know, it's not over. But the mentality of can't hurt me is just that. No matter what's in front of you, man, you have to face, you have to confront, you have to overcome and move forward. So my father, you know, some of the kids that bullied me, my learning disabilities, all these things I went through in life, stuttering, has so many different issues, failing and failing and failing, I had to overcome them, or they would have overcame me. Throughout this journey, I started becoming this new person. I started creating this new person. People started seeing me as this amazing superhero. In the back of my mind, I knew the real story. And I was like, man, one day you have to really share it. I'm like, man, but do you have the courage? You know, like, it's great to live right here. I've established this. People think you're great. Just stay here. Don't go back. Let's not go back. But the only way you can help people out is let them know that this is possible. So I had to go back and say, this is where I come from. And where I come from is hell. Because what we do so well in this world is we see superhuman people and we title them. The second we title them, what that does, that gives us a get out of jail free card, is that they're the 1%ers. I'm not even going to try to do that because that's not even in me. God made them special. They're special people. There are no special people. They're special minds, and the mind can be created on your own. You can do that yourself. So that's why I write the book like I write it, so people can look at me and say, my God, he came from this. He had to overcome all of this. So I take away all the titles, even crazy, even the fact that he's superhuman. All those titles are now stripped away. But what's funny about that, you will have my book in your hand. You will read it in its entirety. You will hear the audio book, whatever you get. And by the time you get to chapter 9 or 10, you already forgot chapter 1, 2, and 3 of the hell I came through. That's how fast the mind wants to soften you up and say, this guy's just nuts. He's superhuman. That's how fast the mind, you already forgot what you read. And you love the book. You're loving the book. And you already forgot the first 3 chapters of your mind saying, this is impossible. It's already guiding you down that path of least resistance as you're reading the book. That's how powerful it is. So we got to constantly remind ourselves of, go back to chapter 1, 2, and 3. Always remind yourself of those chapters, of that you can also do this. But you have to first self-examine or live autopsy your own personal life. I'm training my mind and my body and my spirit so it's all one, so I can handle what life is going to throw at me. Because the life I've lived, it throws a whole bunch at you. And if you're not physically and mentally prepared for that, you're just going to crumble. And you're good for nobody. In times of suffering, what we do is we forget how hard we really are. Because that's what suffering is. Suffering is a test. It's all it is. Suffering is the true test of life. It is now where I'm at today. And that is, when you finally get to that point for me, it's forever lasting peace. Greatness isn't running 200 miles at a time or doing 4,000 pull-ups or being a SEAL. Greatness is whatever the hell you dreamed of in your own mind. You gotta first see it. You gotta first create this vision in your mind. And then that's when I come into play. Once you create this vision in your mind, it's how am I going to get there? We are all great. No matter if you think you're dumb, no matter if you think you're fat, no matter if you are fat, no matter if you've been bullied, or no matter if you just got back from Iraq or Afghanistan and you have no legs or your arms or whatever, man, we all have greatness. You got to find the courage. You got to find the courage to put your Bose headphones on and silence the noise out of this world and to find it. that sets you apart from everybody else. And that's what it's all about. Where it gets hard. And the harder it is, the more you start to push back. And the more you push back, and then it's not right for people to talk about. It's not right for, like, let's say you are fat. I was fat. That's why I talk about it. Go ahead and say something. I was fat too. And it was hard every day to get up. I know what it feels like when you roll your fat ass out of bed and all you want, but I can't want it more than you. And so many people just want it the easy way. I'm sorry, man. It's not. So what they start to do is they build this narrative of it's okay. When the narrative should be, you need to work harder. You need to discipline your mind better. We need to help people more than just saying it's okay. It's okay that you're not willing to help yourself out. That's not okay. It's not okay. It's not acceptable. Even though it's your life, if that's acceptable, that's unacceptable. And there's a lot of people in this world, me included, that if I accepted that, I wouldn't be anywhere. So yeah, a lot of people just, they start creating a narrative about themselves that make it okay. The ultimate get out of jail free card. And now the world is set up to have so many get out of jail free cards. Everything is okay. And you can't say a motherfucking thing about it. I want you to go there with me. I'm taking you there with me. I'm a storyteller. I want to take your ass down paradise. So the house I lived in Buffalo, New York, that I got my ass beat every day, funny. We lived on Paradise Road. And it was anything but paradise. So I want you to go there with me. You want to learn from me? Let me take your ass home. Let me take you there. So that's the whole thing about it, man. We're scared to dive into our lives. What made us who we are. The beautiful people that we are. We're all jacked up in so many ways. That's the beauty of us. That's the beauty of me. I'm jacked up. But I figured out my own little process on how to get unjacked up and how to, I'm not going to get the same, I'm not going to get the same way you're going to get there. You may get there by going point A to point B. I might go point C to D to E to F. I'm going to be there the same way you are, just a little harder. That's how I train my brain. So it's just different. I'm just a different thinker. My part-time savage is me running like 50 miles a week. What I used to do, and what I do now, is I got to a point, I'd be running, I was like, okay, man, we can do 10 miles today. I get to 10 miles, but that fucking demon that I let out every morning that walks the streets at night, he comes and says, hey, no, bitch, not today, man. There's somebody out there that you don't know, have never met in your entire life, that is doing 12, 13, 14. You're going to do another one. And when you meet them, you ain't going to be ready. So, Goggins kept on running. And this is one thing about life. This is why you always must be ready. Always be ready. Never get ready. People go, oh, hey, what are you training for, David? I ain't training for shit. When something pops up, I'm ready. So when Cam popped the fuck up, and Cam calls, hey, man, I'm going to be in Las Vegas. You want to go for a run? Sure do. Sure do, brother. Sure do. While the run sucked, I was ready. Hey, come here, brother. Let me talk to you real quick, brother. People don't like that, man, but I'm not going to allow you to go to a place that's going to be hard to get out of. It's going to be hard. If I allow you to gain 5 more pounds, or allow you to take 4 more days off of school, or allow you to keep on procrastinating in your life, and I see it, and I tell Jennifer behind your back, I'm doing you no justice. Zero justice. So where this world is now, you can't say a motherfucker. I do. I still do, and I always will. Don't like me. Don't like me. I'm good with that. In my mind, a lot of times, man, I'm like, it doesn't mean I quit. I don't quit. I may not make it the first time, but I'll come back. I gotta call an audible. I can get my head back in the game. I gotta figure this shit out. It doesn't mean you leave. It means you study it more. It means you study it more. And whenever I fail at something, people always say, man, how do you handle failure? Like, I fail a lot, dude. I fail all the time. They go, how do you handle it? What I'm trying to do, and this isn't being arrogant, man. It's being real. Not many people are trying to do. There's not many people who can even open their mouth. and criticize me when I do fail. Because I'm on trying to do man that many people aren't trying to do. But I don't look at failure as failure. I look at failure as your first, second, third, fourth, fifth attempt. I look at them as attempts. I don't look at anything as failure. Because when you're going to try to do something, not trying is failure. That's not some after school special shit. But when you're able to go out there is no failure. It's attempts. Because when you're trying to do something that's bigger than you, whatever you are, whoever you are, if you're paralyzed, you're trying to walk one step and you didn't fail. That was your first attempt. If that's your biggest thing, that's how your mindset needs to go into everything. So I don't look at it as failure is a big word that gets people down. We give so much power to words. I don't. I take the power right away. I didn't fail. The mind always has the tactical advantage over. Why is that? It knows your fears. It knows your insecurities. It knows where they're hiding. You're alone. You're alone. You may have a shrink you're going to. You may have a best friend you're going to. But there's 24 hours in the day where you're alone in this brain. And your brain is talking to you in all kind of ways. And it wants to control you and pull you in these different pockets. If you can't control your own brain and your brain controls you, you got to tell your brain where you want to go and how you want to go and how you want to get there. You got to control it. If not, it's over. We have a lot more than we think we have. And all I did was I picked up that shovel, and that shovel, I made my own path. And you may have big boulders, and they may be getting 200 miles up the road faster than you, but going through this path of life, this journey over here, there may be some days I get up with poopy pants, and I'm like, you know what, man? This, man, like, why am I having this such a structured life? Why? And I'm like, you know what? I'm good. I'm done with this shit. And I sit around and I say, okay, so you want to be normal. So you just want to be like everybody else that roams the world, not knowing the power that's in them. Being fine with being mediocre. I'm like, fuck that, man. The worst thing that happened to me is I lost myself. I never had myself. I never found myself. I had no self-esteem. So I knew through working out and through learning, because it took a lot for me to learn also. I started finding self-esteem. Once I found that, that's when doors started opening up. I stopped caring about people, that what they thought, being judged. Wow, if I say this, if I started right now, are you gonna make fun of me? I stopped caring about that. And that's when my life started really changing for me, slowly but surely. I could barely read and write when I was in a junior in high school. I wasn't going anywhere. I was a character. I was trying to find myself through a character. I was making different hairstyles and sagging my pants, and I was off. I was off, man. I was a clown. I was a clown. And I was like, this is not where you're supposed to be in life, man.
Happy. I am not I am not happy. The biggest thing is the say look at her eyes. Look at his eyes, man. Have you see? His eyes look, he has demos in his eyes. Look so unhappy. The biggest thing is I am not happy. I am not fulfilled. You know they are so missing the point. Man is a very famous driving being who found I needed trusted within himself not many people found. It's so the journey I am on is very different than most people, which why I don't judge people. I say that many times. I didn't judge people. I am just a lot. Why? Who? How I look my eyes. My not smiling. The time not luxurious, not joking. Right now it's easy to be happy. It's easy to smile. Those are the good times. The good times, those times don't need to be tired, trained you. Now had to train myself for good time. Those time for most people doesn't need to be tried. What I am trying to give you all is the mystery of time we go through in life. Those are the time we didn't want to tell about, we want to skip forward to pitch. Let's skip all this pain and suffering and misery of real life. Let's cover it over nice big bucket and let's find peace. Not peace, no, sorry, it's not possible. Got to go into the hell hole of